Would anyone like to pray? Uh, Amen. Aquila Jefferson was born and raised in Brevard County, Florida. She attended schools in the Cocoa area and in 2003 graduated with honors from Cocoa High School. After graduating high school, she went to North Carolina where she matriculated through North Carolina Central University. In 2007, she graduated cum laude with a Bachelor of Science degree in Family and Consumer Science with a concentration in food and nutrition with a specialization in dietetics. After graduating, she eventually worked for the Florida Department of Health in Brevard County. During her time there, she obtained her registration and license as a registered dietitian and, and licensed nutrition and a licensed nutritionist and dietitian. In 2005, she graduated from the University of South Florida with a master's degree in public health with a concentration in public health practice. Personally, while attending her home church of Bethel SDA in 2019, the Lord blessed Aquila with her husband in the man of God Antoine Jefferson, whose last name is on the street of the church. Letting Aquila know the Lord is a prayer answering God who works in mysterious ways. The Lord has blessed Aquila and her husband with 4 beautiful children, Travis, Joy, Alana, and Allison. Professionally, due to circumstances out of her control, in 2021, Aquila had to leave the Florida Department of Health, but her passion for health, food, and nutrition never wavered. In the end of 2022, Aquila was blessed with the opportunity to be a dietitian consultant for the Visiting Nursing Association of Space Coast, and in the early part of this year, Aquila was blessed again with the opportunity to be a dietitian consultant for the Rockledge Health and Rehab and Vieira Health Rehab. Spiritually, Aquila loves the Lord and firmly believes that God wants all of us to be in good health. Her favorite verse is 3 John verse 2. Beloved, I wish all above things that thou mayest prosper and be in good health, even as thy soul prospereth. Aquila's wish for you all, as she presents, is that God's promises of health and your soul prospering is granted upon you.
Well, let's give a round of applause for our announcer this evening, and for Miss Malia for doing our song service. Amen. Well, I want to welcome you all this evening. Like our first elder said this morning, you could have chose to be anywhere else besides sitting here listening to me. So I appreciate you all coming out, and I hope that the information that you received tonight, that the Lord blessed me with, that you'll share it, you'll take it, you'll use it, and that it'll help and benefit you. All right, so let's see. Okay. Would you like to hear some alarming facts? All right. More than 133 million Americans are living with this disease. 37.3 million with diabetes. 5 to 10% is with type 1 diabetes. 90 to 95% is with type 2 diabetes. And 96 million are living with prediabetes. Diabetes is the 8th leading cause of death in the United States. Diabetes is also the #1 cause of kidney failure, lower limb amputation, which are your legs, your feet, your toes, all of that, and adult blindness. For diabetes in African Americans, in 2019, non-Hispanic blacks were twice as likely as non-Hispanic whites to die from diabetes. In 2018, African American adults were 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes. In 2019 again, non-Hispanic blacks were 2.5 times, not one, not half, but 2.5 times likely to be hospitalized with diabetes and associated long-term complications. So what are some key facts? Some of the key facts are the body breaks down most of the foods that we eat as glucose or sugar. Because of this, it turns into, of course, the bloodstream. When the blood sugars rises in your body, it takes it a while for the pancreas, which is where it comes from, the insulin. So the insulin is released from the pancreas. And the pancreas either signals to say, okay, you know what? All of this food that you intaked in, I have to release some insulin out now. So that way, the insulin acts as a key to open up the door of your cells to allow the glucose to come in so your body can use it as energy. Now, if your pancreas is not working properly, which is what happens with those who have diabetes, then the blood sugars can't get into the cells, and so now they're floating in your bloodstream. And too much blood glucose in your bloodstream over time causes heart failure, kidney disease, and it also can lead to vision loss. So let's get into my favorite subject, food. So how is food digested in the body? The digestive system is made up the gastrointestinal tract, your liver, your pancreas, and your gallbladder. Now, digestion is important. Why? Because your body needs to use the nutrients from the food. That's the only way that you're going to get energy, is from the foods that you are eating. And everything that you eat and drink has to be able to be used by your body to work properly and stay healthy. So your body uses 2 things. Well, more than 2 things, but it's made up of 2 things. Macronutrients, which is your carbohydrates. I'm pretty sure you've heard that word before. Your protein and your fat. And then you have your micronutrients, which are smaller, which are your vitamins and your minerals. All of that is used for energy for your body. Now, your digestive system breaks down your nutrients into smaller parts so that way your body can actually use it. So you're eating something that's called a carbohydrate, but your body breaks it down into something different. You're eating something that's considered protein, but your body is breaking it down into something different. Same thing for fat, and same thing for your vitamins and your minerals. Now, what this does, it helps your body get your energy, it helps for your muscles, for growth, and for your cell repair. Now, your pancreas is the organ that breaks down those carbohydrates, your fats, and your protein. So that's why it's the most important organ when it comes to diabetes, because again, the pancreas releases that insulin, which is the key for your body to unlock those cells for the blood glucose to get in. Your body breaks down proteins, fats, carbohydrates into blood glucose. So that's why it works hand in hand. So if one part is broken, then everything else can't work properly and run functionally. Amen? So let's start off with carbohydrates. So the recommendation is for 45 to 65% of your daily calories to come from carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, like I told you at the beginning, your body breaks down your carbohydrates, your fats, and your protein into smaller portions, or smaller particles, so your body can use it. So carbohydrates are broken down into simple sugars during digestion. Carbohydrates in the food that you eat raise your blood sugar levels. How fast that happens depends on what kind of carbohydrate you are eating. You have some that's called simple carbohydrates, and you have some that's called complex carbohydrates. So what that pretty much means is something that's considered simple is pretty much it's made primarily from pure sugar for the most part. So your body breaks down anything that's made from primarily sugar. So if the first ingredient that you read is sugar, your body is going to break that down faster because it's already broken into sugar, which is what your body needs for energy. Now, when it comes to complex carbohydrates, that means it's gone through something. It has a little bit more extra to it, so your body has to take longer for it to break it down to make it into that sugar that it needs. So, for example, drinking fruit juice. Fruit juice actually raises your blood glucose or your blood sugars faster than eating whole fruit. Why? Juice is already at the sugar level. It doesn't have to go through anything for your body to break it down into sugar. Fruit, it has to because of the skin, because of the inside. Some people, depending on the fruit, some people eat the seed of the fruit. So it goes through a little bit more for the body to break it down. So what are carbohydrate foods? I don't know if you can see that. It's a little small, and I'm sorry. Next time I know to make it a little bit bigger, because when you're on your laptop, it looks big. It's like, ooh, okay, yeah, they'll be able to see that. But when it transfers into the screen, it doesn't. So I'm going to go over the examples, but when they talk about carbohydrates, and has anyone ever gone through a diabetic counseling before? No, okay. So whenever you go through a diabetic counseling, they talk about counting carbs or counting carbohydrates. So when I say carbs, I'm talking about a carbohydrate. That's just the shorter term for carbohydrates, is carbs. So when you go through a diabetic counseling, we talk about counting carbs. So what are carbohydrate foods? You have your grains, you have your starchy vegetables, you have your fruits, you have your desserts, your snacks, things like that, and you have your milk. Those are going to be considered your four groups when it comes to carbohydrates. So what I have listed here is it's talking about what is considered a serving size to equal to that 15 grams of carbs. So what that is 15 grams is 1 carb. So a slice of bread. Who likes to eat sandwiches? Okay, good. So say you had a sandwich. So you typically have how many slices of bread when you have a sandwich? You have 2. Who can tell me how many carbs that is? Great job. All right, I see a future in dietetics for you. That would be 30 grams. That is correct. Because, again, 1 slice of bread is considered a serving, which is 15 grams. So if you have 2 slices of bread, you have 30 grams, which equals to 2 carbs. So if you're eating a sandwich, you had 2 carbs right there. If you had some pancakes or some waffles for breakfast, that's 1 pancake or 1 waffle is equal to 15 grams, so that's 1 carb. Same thing if you had, it says here, a third cup, I'm sorry, a half a cup. Okay, so if you had a half a cup of sweetened cereal, so we know what these are. These are measuring cups. How many of us actually have measuring cups at home and we actually use them? So we have them at home. We have them typically in our drawer. And over time, I understand as you cook a lot, you do more of eyeballing, as the old people say. You just eyeball it and you say, okay, that's enough, or I need a little bit more, or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to serving and portion sizes, a half a cup is this. I hear chuckles. I hear laughter. Trust me, I understand because food is my favorite thing. I love to eat. Do I overeat? Yes. I'm not going to stand up here and say, no, I do not overeat. As a dietitian, you shouldn't overeat. I overeat. I do. Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry. Okay. Um, so say you went and you had a cup of cereal, which is perfectly fine. You had your 2 carbs. So generally, most people per meal, most people can have 2 to 3 carbs per meal. Now this varies based on your gender, your age, your weight, and what you already have as a predisposed conditions. So if you already have diabetes, that's going to be a little bit different. If you already have heart disease, kidney disease, or any other disease, it's going to vary just depending on you and your circumstance. So you can always Google and you can always look up and say, oh, okay, I'm supposed to have, like in the beginning I said 45 to 65% of your daily calories. So that's the recommendation for pretty much anyone who does not have predisposed conditions. Now, if you sit down with the dietitian or you sit down with your doctor, then we can tell you more specifically what's best for you as an individual. Considered 1 carb. A half a cup of pasta sauce is considered 1 carb. A quarter of a large potato is considered a carb, 15 grams, 1 carb. 1 cup of French fries is considered 1 carb. Now we know we like to go to those fast food places and those fries is not 1 cup. That's way more than a cup. So when we think about things like that, we understand, okay, this is where it's coming from. This is why a lot of people are living with prediabetes. There's a lot of people that are living with diabetes. It's just because our portions are out of control. A half a cup of mashed potatoes or even sweet potatoes. A cup of squash. A cup of mixed vegetables. Rewind that. A cup of squash. You would think squash, it's a vegetable. It's good. That shouldn't have no issues. It's a starchy vegetable. A half a cup of beans or lentils. Wait a minute. Beans or lentils, they're good for you. They're a good source of fiber. They're a good source of protein. And I'll get to that. This is just talking about what is a carb food and the portion size right now. Half a cup beans or lentils. 2/3 cups of lima beans. All of that is considered a carb. Now, if you can't see it, but notate it, non-starchy vegetables. Non-starchy vegetables. They still have carbohydrates, but they only have 5 grams of carbohydrates. So you can eat all the non-starchy vegetables. That's your leafy greens. That's going to be pretty much your kale, your spinach, cabbage. All of that is going to be considered your non-starchy vegetables. A half of broccoli, yes, broccoli too as well. A half a cup cooked is equal to those 5 grams. And 1 cup raw is equal to those 5 grams. When it comes to your crackers, your snacks, things like that, 8 animal crackers is considered that 1 carb. 3 graham crackers, 6 saltine crackers, 3 cups of popcorn, without the butter, without the salt, without all the lovely additives that we love to add to popcorn. 3 cups of popcorn just plain by itself is 15 grams of carb. Who loves to eat chips? Who would like to guess how many chips is equal to 15 grams of carb? 2. No, a little bit higher. A little bit less. 8. 8. 8 chips is considered to 15 grams. Now, that depends on the chip, too, as well. So you want to make sure when you get prepackaged things, you want to read your food label, and I'll go over that, too. Now, sweets, desserts, things like that, a 1/4 inch of a brownie. A 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch. Small piece of a brownie is 15 grams. 2 inches, a 2-inch square, which is a little bit bigger, of a piece of cake, no frosting, unfrosted, is 15 grams. With frosting, you're moving into the 25 to 30 grams. 3 pieces of hard candy, a half a cup of ice cream, 2 small sandwich cookies, and 3 small regular cookies is 15 grams, or 1 carb. Your fruit. Now, they tell you you should eat fruit. Yes? But guess what? As I told you in the beginning, all food gets broken down into sugar. An apple, 1 apple is 15 grams, 1 small banana, 1 small orange, 17 grapes, a half a cup of canned fruit, 12 cherries, 3 dates. Now, there's other fruits that are out there, of course. I just picked some of the most common ones that most people eat to just show you what is considered 1 carb or 15 grams. For those who drink milk or dairy, it's 12 grams that is equal to 1 carb. So anytime you drink a cup of milk, you're getting 12 grams of carbohydrates, and that's equal to that 1 carb. And that's any type of milk. That's almond milk, soy milk, regular milk. It does not matter the type of milk. It's still going to give you carbohydrates. And 6 ounces of yogurt. Fats. So for your fats, Your fats break down into fatty acids or glycerol during digestion so it can enter the bloodstream. They say 25 to 35% of daily calories should come from fats. But wait a minute. Shouldn't we avoid fats? Isn't fats bad for you? Some of it's not. You have some good fat and you have some unhealthy fat. Fatty acids or fats can be formed from carbohydrates in foods. Again, your body breaks down everything that you eat into sugar. Fats are important for how the body uses many vitamins. There are two types of fats. You have your saturated fats, which is considered unhealthy, and you have your unsaturated fats, which are considered healthy. Now, unsaturated fats have two types. You have monounsaturated and you have polyunsaturated. They're both can be found in a variety of foods. Polyunsaturated in oils. Polyunsaturated are going to primarily be found more in your plant-based foods and your oils. Eating carbohydrates that have healthy fats help slow down how quickly your blood sugar rises in your body. So what are some types of healthy fats? You have avocado, you have salmon, anchovies, sardines, tuna, you have flax seeds, chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, you have your cold pressed oils, olive oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, and you have some nuts, almonds, cashews, pecans, peanuts, peanut butter, walnuts. Those are going to be considered some healthy fats that you can include with your meals. Now, proteins. The recommendation is 0.8 grams per kilogram of your body weight. So again, that's why I said you can't just say, okay, you know what, I need to work out. I want to get some muscles. I'm going to get me 100 grams of protein. Your body may not need 100 grams of protein for you to get the muscles, because too much protein can actually cause damage to your kidneys too as well. So again, you want to make sure it's individualized for you. Protein breaks down into amino acids during digestion. Amino acids are used to break down food, grow and repair tissue, build muscle, boost your immune system, maintain healthy skin, hair, and nails, and sustain a normal digestive system. Eating carbs that have protein helps slow down how quickly your blood sugar rises in your body. So eating carbs just by itself rises up your blood sugars. It breaks down quickly in the body. But if you have carbohydrates that have some fat and some protein, that helps slows down how quick your body is breaking down that sugar. Because again, your pancreas has to open up those cells. But if your pancreas is not working properly, the key doesn't come out, it stays in the pocket, and now all those blood sugars are rising up in your body. And now your body has to react to that, and that's where those diseases come from. So what are some types of protein foods? You have some beans, you have your lentils, you have your peas, you have your nuts, you have tempeh or tofu, you have edamame, chicken, turkey, fatty fish. Now, I know I said beans is a carbohydrate, but they're also protein. So, depending on your serving size again, your body will take it as sugar, but it's going to slowly take it as sugar rather than if you were just eating something that is just straight carbohydrate. Fiber. Who loves fiber? Very good. Dietary fiber has little or no effect on blood sugar. Why? Well, fiber is actually a carbohydrate. It is found in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, or your beans. Fiber helps with blood sugar control and weight management. This is due to the body not being able to break it down or absorb it. So it does not cause a rise in blood sugar as other carbs foods do. So when anything that has fiber, your body will take it in and push it right back out, because fiber is to help keep you regular. There are two types of fibers. You have your soluble fiber, which helps slows down digestion, which helps control blood sugar and cholesterol. And you have insoluble fiber, which supports insulin sensitivity and keeps your bowels healthy to keep you regular. So what are some type of fiber foods? You have your soluble, which are apples. Wait a minute. One apple is equal to what? One carb, or 15 grams. But it also has fiber. Okay, keep that in the back of your mind. Bananas, oats, peas. There go those beans again. Beans, Brussels sprouts, avocado. Whoa, avocado is not only a fiber, but it's also a fat. Keep that in your mind. Some types of insoluble fiber are going to be your whole wheat flour, your bran, nuts, seeds, and the skin off of fruits and vegetables. So, glycemic index. Has anyone ever heard of the glycemic index? Okay. So the glycemic index is a chart that shows how much and how quickly a carbohydrate containing food can raise your blood sugar 2 hours after eating. So for those who have diabetes and they check their blood sugar, they know that you check your blood sugar when? Before you eat and 2 hours after you eat. And the reason being is because that's how long it takes for the body to not only take in that food and filter it out and everything like that, but that's how long it takes for the body to say, okay, whether or not your pancreas is actually working to open that door of your cells, or if it's not working to open up the doors of the cells, and now it's saying, okay, now this blood glucose is floating around in my bloodstream, and now I have to check my blood to see what's my level to say, okay, this is how much insulin I need, or if I don't need to take any insulin at all for some people. On the glycemic index, foods are giving a number from 0 to 100 to indicate the potential on how high it would raise your blood sugar levels. Low GI foods, or glycemic index foods, are less than 55. Medium GI foods are 56 to 69, and high GI foods are anything that's greater than 70. The higher the number, the greater the potential for that food to raise your blood sugars higher and faster. This is just a tool that some people can use, but it's not fully indicative of how these foods will affect other areas of your health. So for those who do have diabetes and for those who don't, some people use this as a guide for them to, do their meal planning and things like that. But it's up to you to see, okay, you know what? Say I'm going to have me some on the glycemic index, and I'm sorry that you can't see it, but on the glycemic index, lentils are 41. So that's not a high GI food. So that's actually, your body's still going to break it down as sugar, but it's not going to break it down as fast as it would something like white bread, which is at 100. So anything that's going to be a higher, that means that your body is going to break it down quicker, faster, and that's going to raise your blood sugars quicker and faster. So, portion sizes. So we did talk about serving sizes here. Portion sizes. Again, the number of portions you need is based on your weight, your gender, and your activity level. For someone who is sedentary or someone who sits down more than they are active, walking, running, things like that, your portion sizes are going to be a lot smaller because you're not burning it off. But for someone who's more active, they're running, jogging, doing physical activity, they may be able to eat a little bit higher portion just because their body is going to burn it off and it needs that extra food. for that extra energy that they need to do the activity that they're doing. A general guideline is the My Plate method. Who has ever seen a plate or the My Plate method? Okay. So the top part of the plate is your vegetables, your non-starchy vegetables. Your non-starchy vegetables, half of the plate should be. Now, if you don't have a plate that looks like this and you don't want to draw on your plates and all of that or buy special plates, a good guideline is your hands. So, for your hands, non-starchy vegetables should fit in both of your hands. That's considered a portion or half of your plate, but of course, 1.5 cups cooked or 3 cups raw could be for your top portion of your vegetables. Your protein, for those who eat meat, you want to go for your leaner proteins like your chicken, your poultry, your turkey, things like that. For those who eat fish, your more fatty fish like your salmon, again, your tuna, your anchovies, sardines, stuff like that. And for those who do not, your beans, your lentils, your tofu, all of that is going to be considered your protein. So 1/4 of that should be on your protein side. The other 1/4 is going to be your starch for those who want to include your starchy vegetables like your pastas, pasta's not a vegetable, but like your potatoes, sweet potato, things like that. Or if you want to use your grains like your pastas, your breads, all of those, you can use that as 1/4. Now on this plate, they have the fruit up at the top because it's a side. So what most people like to do is they like to include vegetables, protein, starch for their meal. Fruit you can have on the side. So a fruit could be as a snack, or you can just have it on the side after your meal for your dessert, rather than having the lovely desserts that we love to have. Now, reading food labels. Reading food labels is how you can determine how many carbohydrates you are receiving from a packaged food. All right, my 2 volunteers that raised their hand in the beginning, come on up. All right, so I have here different things that have carbohydrates to them. Again, all foods have what? All foods are broken down into the body as sugar, yes. Not all foods are made or created equal. Can you tell them what this is?
This is a Nature Valley muffin bar.
Nature Valley muffin bar. You would see this and you would say, oh, that's good. It's Nature Valley's. It has blueberries in it. So this is something that's healthy for me to eat. It has whole grains in it, and it's made with real fruit. Okay, very good. You hold on to yours. Can you tell me what this is?
Chocolate fudge brownie.
Chocolate fudge brownie. So this is Fiber One's chocolate fudge brownie. You would say, let me pass that by on the shelf. That's not good. It's a brownie. It's fudgy. I don't need that in my life. I need this in my life. Can you tell me how many carbohydrates is on this?
23 grams, which is 8%. This is in here.
Okay, so it's 23 grams of carbohydrates. Now, so this is 23 grams of carbohydrates. Now, remember, how many grams is equal to 1 carb? 15. So this would be 1 and what? 1 1/4. Okay. Now, can you tell me how many carbohydrates in this product?
17 grams.
17 grams. So that has a little bit less. Okay. Hold that thought. Now, when we go grocery shopping, does anyone ever look at the food labels, or do you just grab and throw in the cart? You look at the price, okay. Well, you should look at both. You should look at the price for sure. And you should also look at the food label too, because it's going to tell you how many calories, what's the portion size, what's the total fat, cholesterol, how much sodium, which is for a different discussion. Tonight we're talking about carbohydrates and diabetes. Sodium is a whole different ball game. And how much protein, and if they have any minerals to it or vitamins to it. So, don't go anywhere, volunteers. In order to know the net carbs you are receiving, take the grams of fiber and subtract it from the grams of carbs. All right, so you said this one had 23? All right. That one has 17. How many grams of fiber is in here?
6.
No, it's right there.
4.
4 grams of fiber is in this bar here. So you would subtract 23 from 4, and you would get 19. So this has 19 grams of carbs. Again, your body's still going to break it down as sugar, but it's not going to break it down as fast as something that has 23 or more. All right. Now, how many grams of fiber is in this one?
6.
This one has 6 grams of fiber. So you subtract it from the 17 and you have how many? You have 11, yes, 11. Now, what's interesting about this Fiber One bar is you'll notice on the front, it actually says 5 grams in net carbs. And the reason being is because of no, it's not a trick. It's because of an ingredient, a sweetener that they use, and it's called sugar alcohol. It's not alcohol, sugar. No, it's just the way that they use the sweetener. So it's a way that they break down the sugar in order to make it less for you. So this actually has 6 grams of that in there too as well. So what happens is you subtract that 6 from it too also, and that's how you get 5 grams of net carbs. So typically, you will walk and you will see this and say, hey, you know what? This is good for me. I'm going to go ahead and grab it. I'm going to eat it because it is good for me. It's not that it's not bad for you. This just has a little bit more fiber to it. So that's what you want to look for, are things that have a little bit more fiber, because again, you could take away that fiber from the carb in order to get your net carb. All right, next. All right, can you tell me what this is?
It's a wafer bar, and I love them. They're awesome.
What does it say?
Sugar-free vanilla.
Sugar-free vanilla wafer. And what does yours say?
Wafer vanilla.
Wafer vanilla. So we have a sugar-free and we have a regular. All right, let's read the food label. Let's turn it over. All right. How many grams of carbohydrates do you see?
19. Yeah.
This has 19 grams of carbohydrates. Do you see any fiber in there? So it doesn't have any fiber in there. So you're not going to subtract anything from it. So it's going to have 19 grams of carbohydrates. How many carbs do you have?
18.
You have 18 grams of carbohydrates. Now, wait a minute. Isn't one sugar-free and the other one is regular? Don't be confused by sugar-free versus non-sugar-free when it comes to diabetes. All that means is it does not have added sugars to it. So that one is made with stevia, which is a sugar substitute. So it's not going to have any real sugar that is made with from the cane. It's just going to have a sugar substitute to it. Your body is still going to break it down as a carbohydrate. So for those who are diabetic, for those who are wanting to, make sure they don't, especially if they have a family history of diabetes, just don't be confused by sugar-free versus non-sugar-free. Definitely for those who are trying to avoid, getting a lot of sugars, because that is a healthier way, go ahead and go for the sugar-free. Just don't be confused and think, oh, okay, I'm getting sugar-free. That means I'm not getting any carbohydrates. No, you're still getting carbohydrates. You're just not getting any real natural sugar cane. So your body is still going to break it down. It's still going to, lead to getting the glucose from it. It's just not going to have any sugar. So if you're trying to avoid actual sugars, which of course can lead to other health issues too as well. So if you're trying to avoid actual sugars like cane sugar, then go ahead and get the sugar-free items. That's not a problem. I just wanted to let you know that sugar-free does not mean no carbohydrates. Okay. Same thing here. What do you see there? On the back.
We have 23 grams of carbohydrates.
You have 23 grams of carbohydrates, and this is the sugar-free dark chocolate candy. And what do you have?
22 grams.
And she has 22 grams of Welch's fruit snacks. So you will walk by and you will see fruit. Fruit snacks must be good because it says fruit, right? You will walk by, you will see chocolate. Must not be good because it says chocolate. Don't need to eat chocolate. That's not good for you. Now, how many grams of fiber does this have?
3 grams.
This has 3 grams of fiber. How many grams of fiber does that have? You know why she's looking and can't find it? Because it's not there. So, certain things, that's why it's good to read the food label, because just because it says something on the front doesn't mean that it's the greatest thing in the world for you to have, it's the greatest thing in the world for you to eat, just because it says fruit or anything on it. What is this?
An apple.
Okay. I know my food. What is this?
An orange.
All right. Do you see any food labels? Correct. So the food label is going to be on the bag, but because you have fruit, again, the skin is going to have the fiber. So for those who like to take their apples and peel them and don't eat the skin, you're doing yourself a disjustice because all of the fiber is in the skin. So you want to eat the skin in order to get that fiber. This is considered 1 gram of carb, but again, your body is going to break it down slower if you eat the skin. Now, if you just eat the inside of it, your body's going to break it down a little bit faster because all you're getting is just now, again, the glucose part of it instead of the fiber part of it. The orange. No, you can't eat the skin. You cannot eat the skin. So this is just an example of the fact that your body breaks this down because this is one carb. It's going to break it down quicker than it is going to be the apple because the apple has the skin. Okay. Now when it comes to protein, peanut butter is one thing that you can use as a protein, but again, it does have some carbs to it. This here has total grams of 8 grams of carbohydrates, but it has 2 grams of fiber, and it has 7 grams of protein. So a lot of people who are diabetic, they'll use peanut butter as a part of their snack, especially like they'll do apples and peanut butter, or they'll do carrots and peanut butter, things like that, to help their body glucose levels not to rise as quickly, just because of the simple fact that this has more protein and it has more of the fiber in it than it does the carbohydrates. Now for those who are allergic to peanut butter, you could do almond butter, you could do sunflower butter, you could do things like that as an option, okay? So, some things that can help and may be beneficial to you: cinnamon. Cinnamon, the cinnamon stick or the cinnamon powder, can be used in place of sugar in cooking. It also helps with those who do like sweet potatoes, or if you're eating something that's really high in a carbohydrate. It also helps kind of slow down the progression of how your body boosts up those blood glucose levels. Aloe vera. Taking the juice of the aloe vera, not the one that you find in the store, the actual aloe vera plant, twice a day can help stabilize blood glucose levels. The gel can also be helpful for those who have diabetic-related wounds. So when you have diabetes, sometimes you do get wounds because, again, your skin is breaking down. So some people who are diabetic, especially if their glucose levels are uncontrollable, sometimes they can get wounds and the wounds don't heal. So sometimes putting the gel on that can help. Ginger. Ginger is a low glycemic index, or GI food, that can be used on meats, vegetables, and soups, and in teas. And turmeric. Turmeric is a spice that can be helpful because it is an anti-inflammatory. So for those who have diabetes, sometimes they have, like I said, other health issues, and inflammation is a part of that. So turmeric, adding turmeric to your foods, or you can, put it in tea or whatever the case may be, that can help too as well. So, meal planning ideas. Eating balanced meals with your food groups, all food groups included, is key. So you don't want to avoid one food group or the other. Sometimes I hear people say, I don't eat vegetables at all, period, nothing. Vegetables are key. God created them. We need them. They provide a lot of vitamins and minerals, and also they provide protein and fiber too as well. Shopping for more fresh food items versus canned or frozen is beneficial for your health. Now, it's beneficial for your health if you're financially not able to, because fresh food items sometimes can cost a little bit more than frozen and canned. Then when you go for that, if you have to buy canned or frozen, try to find the ones that say low sodium. Read the food labels. Try to find the ones that are higher in fiber, so that way you're getting the benefits that you need from the foods that you're eating. And then I wrote down here a website through mayoclinic.org. They have some recipes that's on there that are diabetic or diabetes friendly. Beverages. Water. Water is going to be the best hydration that you can have. Now, how much water you should drink, again, depends on your body size, depends on your weight, depends on your activity level. So for someone who, is just kind of in the house all day and things like that, they're not active, not running around, you still want to drink a good amount of water, because you just sitting there, you're losing water. When you're breathing, when you're talking, when you're sweating, you still lose water. So even though feel like you're not as active, you still need to drink a good amount of hydration. For those who are out in the sun, for those who are doing physical activity, you definitely want to make sure you stay hydrated. Vegetable juice. How many people drink vegetable juice? You do sometimes. You had carrot juice once? Okay. Can you tell me how many carbohydrates is in there? 13 grams. Can you tell me in your cranberry juice how many carbohydrates are in there? 28 grams. Can you tell me how many carbohydrates are in here? 0, 0, 0, 0. So not all beverages are created equal. Remember in the beginning, I told you fruit juice, your body breaks down into glucose quicker because it's already in a sugar form. So water is going to be your best hydration, but keep in mind, even when it's something like vegetable juice or cranberry juice, not saying that you can't have it, just keep in mind that it counts towards your carbohydrates. Because you remember I told you, for those who are diabetic, we do something that's called carbohydrate counting. And so if you're going to have a meal that's going to consist of those things, then that all counts together to why your blood sugars will rise. And then I seen your hand in the back. These are my references. The National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Disease, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health, the Mayo Clinic, the Cleveland Clinic, and the American Diabetes and Association. So again, I thank you for taking the time to come and listen and hear. Prayerfully, this information will be beneficial to you. And are there any questions? Yes. Coconut water, yes. So coconut is actually really beneficial, and it's really good for those who have diabetes. Coconut water is really good as a hydration. It has a lot of minerals, and it also has a lot of nutrients to it too as well. So coconut water is something that you can have. Now again, it does, because it is a fruit, the water still does have some sugar to it because it is a fruit, so your body's still going to break it down and use it as a glucose source, as a sugar source.
When I go to the store, seeing that my husband is diabetic, I would look for the sugar, and not so much the carbohydrates and the fiber. So now I have to make it a switch now to look for the carbohydrates and the fibers, and not so much placing emphasis on the sugar content of it.
Yes, yes, that's something that that's a half a cup. That's a serving of applesauce. That's 15 grams. You want to go over the candy? Okay. Alrighty. So, how many carbohydrates is that?
26 grams.
26 grams. So a serving size is 1 ounce. So that would be considered 27 pieces. So for those who like candy, like me, you're not going to sit there and count out 27 pieces and say, okay, this is my serving. And nope, you're not going to count out 8 chips. You're not going to. That's something that you have to take dedication for. You do, especially when you are predisposed to diabetes. So that means your family, you have a family history of people who have diabetes in your family. If you already have been told you're pre-diabetic, or if you already have diabetes. Those are the extra steps that you just want to take to make sure that you keep your blood sugars on a good level. Those are the extra steps you want to take just to make sure that your blood sugars don't rise because, again, the alarming facts are it leads to amputations, it leads to vision loss, it leads to kidney and heart disease, it leads to pain in your nerves. So it leads to a lot of different things that nobody wants to live for. And God didn't want us to have all those things at all. Can you go over these? Okay. So the Lindor chocolate. How many grams of carbs is in here?
16 grams.
16 grams. What's the serving size? Right there.
3 balls.
3 balls. All right. How many calories do it give you?
230.
So that's something that I did not go over tonight. That's something that I did not go over tonight was the calorie intake. So yes, looking at the carbohydrates is going to be good. Looking at the fiber is going to be great. But you also have to look at how many calories you are getting from that food item that you're eating, especially when it comes to packaged things. Because again, that leads to the weight. The weight leads to other health complications, just not diabetes just by itself. So you do have to look at all of those things together because all of those things together plays a part. So when you're reading the food label, you have to look at the serving size, how many calories you're getting for that serving size. For those who are diabetic, how much carbohydrates you're getting and fiber you're getting. Yes.
How many carbs are you supposed to eat per day?
All
Or
right.
is it per day or per meal?
It could be either one. You could do it per meal or you can do it per day.
Okay.
So thank you for that question. You are my volunteer. Come on down.
Now, you know you want to have me for no volunteer.
Come on down. All right. All right. Let's turn. Yeah. Sit on down right there. Sit on down right there. All right. Can you whisper in my ear? Okay. All right. So this young lady here is my client for today.
mind so well that he says, but if you go back, it's going to be worse than it was before. So therefore, even if I may go and eat a little bit of something, but I don't make it a habit of doing that, because my goal is to not to have diabetes anymore. So when I go back to the doctor, I'm looking for her to tell me, my diabetic doctor, my family doctor already told me, pretty much I'm not diabetic anymore because my A1C was 5.8. But my goal is to get down to where I don't have to take insulin.
Yes.
And that is my goal. So I've been cutting back on my insulin anyway because it was making my sugar drop.
Yes.
So, but anyway.
Thank you. This is your paper. And I thank you for volunteering. And you have a question.
Okay, so my question is pertaining to the portion. So
Yes.
suppose the requirement that my body should have, when I eat that, I'm still hungry. What should I do?
So if you're still hungry, it's better to go ahead and have a protein food rather than eating a carb food, just because, again, that carb food is going to break down faster and your blood sugars are going to rise quicker. So eating something that has a little bit more protein or a healthy fat fills you up more than it does just a carbohydrate food, because, again, the body takes longer for it to break it down.
Okay, so just add some more protein. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I thought it was very interesting when you said using sugar substitute. You can still have them. But here's my question: some are better than others.
Yes.
Okay, so when you said the stevia, that one is a natural one. But what if you see something that has like Splenda, or what is this one I'm seeing a lot? Erythritol. Is
Yes,
that right?
erythritol is one that's the, oh goodness, it's not Splenda, but it's the other one. It comes in a pink package. NutraSweet, yes, thank you. So those like Splenda, NutraSweet, those are not natural. They are made in a lab. So if you find yourself getting those things, same thing like you would regular sugar, moderation. You want to try to go for more natural sweeteners, like the Truvia, the stevia. Even sometimes they make things with like dates and agave. Dates are high in sugar stuff. So just keep that in mind, even though it's natural. And even though it's going to be better than using just regular straight sugar, it is high in glucose, or, because the body breaks it down as a sugar. It is just a little bit higher in that regards. So only 3 dates is equal to 1 gram of carbs. I'm sorry, were you finished with your?
You're answering them beautifully. I just want to ask one other thing. How is the body able to process the man-made sugar?
So what they do is, of course, in the lab, they run tests. So just like they have, they have the rats that they run tests on, and they say that the rat is supposed to be closest to, the human digestive system. So they run these tests on them and to see how their body reacts to the different man-made sweeteners. And so when they do that, then they say, okay, you know what? They didn't react as strong, so we can put this on the market because the human will react the same way. We had a question over here, and then.
Well, actually, from Jessica, she has 2 for you. Are diet drinks healthy? And 2, should we consume foods that have sugar alcohol instead of regular sugar?
Good questions. So again, a sugar alcohol is a sweetener. So it's just like you have your NutraSweet, things like that. That's exactly what that is. It's just a sweetener that they created to be able to put into foods for you. When it comes to diet drinks, is she talking about like diet sodas or just diet drinks in general, like the energy drinks, or is she talking about drinks that help you lose weight? Okay, diet beverages and diet soda. So when you see a diet beverage, diet soda, nope, it doesn't have any added sugars because they chemically take that out. Typically, it doesn't have any calories. It doesn't have anything in it. So they say. The only problem is because a lot of the diet sodas are going to be primarily your darker sodas. So they make a lot of colas. They even have some diet like Sprites and stuff like that. But the only problem is your body still takes it and uses it for, even though it says it doesn't have any in there, your body still uses it. So what happens is your kidneys have to filter that. So not the greatest when it comes to your kidneys because it's a darker soda. Most of the time, those darker sodas are going to play havoc on your kidneys. When it comes to your health-wise, they'll tell you, oh, okay, it's fine because it doesn't have any sugars, it doesn't have any calories, it doesn't have anything to it, so you can go ahead and drink it. But it actually does cause issues still health-wise because of your kidneys. And
what about like grapes? How much you should eat? Like grapes.
Grapes, so 17 grapes
yeah.
is going to be considered one serving, so that's going to have 15 grams.
What about strawberry now?
Strawberries, so about a cup and a quarter, so generally that's going to be about 6 to 8 strawberries, whole strawberries.
Okay. Thank you.
Big giant ones nowadays, yeah, I know. So this is actually going to be a regular size. I don't know what regular size anymore nowadays, but regular size strawberry is going to be 6 to 8. So using honey is the same thing. Your body breaks it down.
Honey.
So honey is a better alternative than using just regular sugar. But again, your body breaks it down as glucose too as well. So it does still have carbohydrates to it. I tell you what's a serving for honey. So a tablespoon of honey is going to be 15 grams of carbohydrates. 1 tablespoon.
So, if you're making dessert and you're using honey instead of sugar and stuff like that, that's, I guess you're gonna have right. I guess you're gonna have to eat a little bit of that dessert.
Correct.
Not a whole big old plate.
Correct. That's it. Again, that's why I told you, do not be confused by sugar versus sugar-free when it comes to carbohydrates, because your body's still going to break it down as a carb goes. But again, it's just going to be a matter of how fast it's going to break it down and how slow it's going to break it down.
Okay, so pretty much, I need to get one of those plates like that, so I can have my stuff and don't overeat.
Yes, and they sell them. They sell them in Walmart. They sell them in Target. They have them. They may not have like the wording on there, but they do have them sectioned off.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Well, I thank you again for coming out. I thank you for allowing me to come and speak with you. And prayerfully, again, this was beneficial to you, and share it with someone else.
Thank you, Aquila. Thank you so much. It was very, very good. I just wish more people were here to hear this. However, those who are here, we really appreciate it. It was excellent. Excellent presentation. That concludes our series on diabetes. However, we're going to look at the next few months presenting another topic. So again, if there's something that you want us to do to bring to you as far as topics, let me know. And I will find the people. Okay. All right, we're going to stand so that we can pray. Ariana, you can close this out.
Dear Lord, thank you for this Sabbath day. Thank you for allowing Miss Aquila to give this wonderful presentation on food. Please help us to remember it and try to make better choices with the food we eat. Amen.
Amen. You can consider yourselves dismissed.